Hosted in conjunction with Chris Media, the CEO interview series allows investors to hear directly from the CEOs leading the companies featured on Wholesale Investor. Enjoy the interview and reach out via the details in the description.
Hi, and welcome to another Crisp TV interview. Today, I'm joined by Markus Borlinghaus, founder and CEO of Scalable Global Solutions. Thank you for joining me for this interview, Markus.
Thank you very much for having the opportunity to do so, and nice to meet you in person.
Brilliant. Now, Markus, to begin the interview today and to set us on the correct course, can you give me a high-level overview of Scalable Global Solutions?
That's an excellent question. The solution from Scalable Global Solutions, so what I basically invented, is called DAAS, so DAS. Our motto is, Das ist out, Das ist in. What it is an industry agnostic solution whereby companies can build their own departments here in Croatia. So they define the job position, they select the candidate we searched for them, but they will be ultimately employed by us in Croatia. After we employed them, we provide everything they need to work. So from a work environment, a dedicated office, infrastructure, laptop, operating system, but for data security, for data protection, and for GDPR compliance, like with normal employees, everything on the laptop in terms of access, what this person would have, is managed by the client IT. After we have hired the person on behalf of the customer, so he is the one who said, I want this person after a series of interviews, we'll send that person to new hire training to the client, the same way as normal employees also go through a new hire training at the client. Once they come back, there's nobody here in SGS who tells them what they should work on. Why would we? It's the department of the customer. So he also manages, runs, and operates the entire department that we have built here for him. We do this for 8 corporate segments, such as operations, IT, marketing, sales, human resources, and several others, which are 8 corporate segments existing in every company in the world, hence why industry agnostic. What is also great about this, it is not an outsourcing. Why is that important? Very simple. Our target audience are clients from 50 to 5,000 employees. That's 96% of the workforce population on planet Earth. Only 4% work in the big corporations. The rest works in SMEs and SMBs. They fear loss of control, hence why they have never outsourced in the last 30 years and why they will not outsource going into the future. And they fear losing in-house knowledge leaving the house. Department as a solution solves their problem. And the last component, what we deliver, is a CRM system. Now you would say, there's so many CRM systems out there already. Problems with those CRM systems is they're completely feature rich. So in order to compete for the biggest clients, each of these vendors puts more and more features into them. SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, Salesforce.com. The list is long. Now, our target audience is not the target audience for such systems who have 100,000 features, because the client would use 1% of them, but has to pay for all the rest. Because they're so feature rich, they have to spend millions in customization and adaptations. It takes a year or 2 to implement them, and the resistance is very high. And after all, the license fee costs are high. So SGS1, what we developed, and is our source code, is the opposite. We call it as a super light version of those big ones. Big enough to optimize the processes of the client, but small enough to not inherit the disadvantages. So hence, our system is integrated in 0 to 4 weeks, mostly by the client himself. They use 80 to 90% of the features from day one, and it costs approximately 30% of the license fee cost that the big ones cost. Why is that important? because we optimize the client's process and procedures. So we raise efficiency and effectiveness between 15 and 30% of the operations, plus we deliver the people. So if you combine software and people, selected, managed, controlled, operated, run by the client, you deliver the business process optimization. All our contracts run for 36 months. If not terminated, automatically extend by another year, which is important. It gives our business a monthly economic inflow that we can calculate years in advance.
Well, thank you, Markus, for that very detailed introduction to your venture. Now, you have already touched upon this, about the different elements and also the problem. But the founding team was working on this solution. So can you just break that down for our audience members a little bit? That what was that specific problem that you saw in the market? And, you have talked about the solution, but anything else that you would like to add to that?
The problem in the market is actually three problems that customers face very simply. Problem number one is lack of talent. A lot of companies want talent, and because they're small, the talent runs away. So let's say you would need a certain engineer in the automotive industry as a mid-sized company having 200 employees, and you're based in Munich, Germany. So the same place where BMW is placed. So who do you think gets the engineer? The small, medium-sized company or BMW? Most likely BMW. But here's the tricky part. The small, medium-sized company pays 1,000 euros netto per month more than BMW does. Still, the people go to BMW because of the CV and reputation. So the second problem they have is increase of cost. Over the past 3-4 years, and now with the global pandemic, the aftermath of the global pandemic, and now we also have the uncertain situation in a neighboring country that has risen globally, the prices, especially the prices for energy and cost, and also labor cost, over the last 4 years by 61%. The third component is process optimization. Small and medium-sized companies have a tendency to solve their problems in-house by themselves. In this setup, inherent is not having always the best setup, process, or optimization possibility. So with our software, we help to solve the problem. With people, we have to solve the problem because we reduce the cost of people and therefore the cost of operation by up to 60% by having this labor force being based here in Croatia. And the availability we also solve because we're not just sourcing in Croatia from Croatia. We source for Croatia worldwide. So for one client in operations, we hired a Japanese lady. In HR, we hired a Turkish person. For a client in IT and operations and development, we hired a person from Tehran. So what I'm trying to say is we also facilitate the entire relocation process from the visa over the registration, the work employment, the police registration, getting a bank account, and ultimately a place to stay.
Amazing. Well, you're really solving a lot of, a major problem that most companies are facing right now. Now, for my next question, Markus, can you tell the listeners about any milestones that you've hit so far that would allude to future success of this venture?
That's a very good question. I really love what I do. I have to say that up front. Number one, before I go into the key milestones, for me, it was always important and will be important going forward to build the future of employment. First, I give you the milestones and then why I think this is the future of employment. So milestones is we signed in the past 18 months, 7 clients. A client usually starts small because small, medium-sized customers are skeptical. So they start their teams with 1, 2, or 3 people. Once they've seen how easy that is, they start to ramp this up. So one of our customers signed 3 people. A year later, which is today, it's now 10 people. And now they made the decision to ramp up to 30. And next year to add next to Austria team, the French, Swiss, and German team. So a client who started contractually with 160K turnover per year, about 10, 12,000 per month, is now at 45,000 per month. So hence somewhere around 500,000 a year, which will next year be between 2.5 and 3.5 million when this team has reached an operations of 70 to 80 people. And that's the typical growth of a customer. We will break even in the next 6 months. The moment we have 30 people in operations for customers, we will hit break even. So even if we don't sign new clients, just with the existing business, we will break even. We have an average monthly revenue growth month over month by 20%. We now started to implement a partner program. At the moment, we have found these deals by selling directly with our own salespeople. Now, I worked in companies like Cisco, Juniper, Microsoft, Xerox, and ATI, which are selling indirectly to the market via a channel partner program. So over the past 8-9 months, we programmed a corporate intranet. We have then started in the half of this year to hire our first and find our first value-added resellers and partners. And we signed up the first 6 partners in 6 countries, and the first partners have already brought customers that have signed business with us. So the goal is to implement a corporate-wide and European-wide and later globally partner network with consultants whose core initiative is to optimize processes and save costs. Now they have an opportunity to sell a solution which contributes them an intake, a revenue intake for the next 36 months guaranteed. Then base partner, premium partners, and gold partners with different certifications. The next highlight is we have a total new investment of 800K achieved in the first 9 months of 2022. And monthly recurring revenue is over 50K since last month. So we will breach the 60K this month. We will reach in December approximately 100K per month. That's not bad for a startup company, I would say. We have signed channel partners. There are 3 more in the making. And we have 1 channel partner, as I said before, who brought a client. Sales pipeline has reached nearly 5 million. When I mean sales pipeline, I'm not talking about the funnel. We mean customers we're currently negotiating their teams, which we estimate to win in this quarter, next quarter, and then next year. The total funnel is over 9 million in sales pipeline. And that brings me to the next point. Small, medium-sized companies were very reluctant to do anything in Corona. So when Corona started, it was, oops, it was a hindrance, it was a damper for our fresh start. But it also was the best thing that could happen to us in a long-term scale. Why? The milestone is that small, medium-sized leadership have realized what they never imagined before. Because by law, everybody had to work from home for 2.5 years. They realized it works. So they now understand if my controller, my marketing, or my salesperson can work 2.5 years successfully from home, well, then they can do this from Croatia, where we save 60% cost operational expenditure for the client. And the second thing every customer realized, they don't need the office space anymore. Office space in prime location is very expensive. So they can have a lot of departments being implemented in Croatia. They can overall reduce their office space. And another highlight is we negotiate with a client who starts with 5 departments to implement with us. Ramping up over the next 18 months with a total amount of 40 people. That's a 3 million deal right there per annum when it's fully implemented. That's the highlights so far.
Amazing. Well, I have to say, Markus, congratulations on everything that you have achieved so far. And also, you have really raised some thought-provoking, points for us that, even us at Wholesale Investor and, our viewers will also be thinking about. Now, another question which would be interesting would be that it would be great if you could touch upon the any alternative methods that are available in the market, and if there are, so how does Scalable Global Solutions differ from these alternative methods, and how does it maintain its competitive edge in the market?
That's a very good question. Let me just go to one chart here that I have this in front of me. What's the competitive map? Well, here's the thing. There are particular parts of Department as a solution available out there. So, for example, we are not an outsourcer, but you can, since 4 decades, outsource to companies like IBM, Oracle, etc. But our target audience doesn't outsource. Loss of control, loss of in-house knowledge. The recruitment part, so that we also take care of searching for the client the talents he needs, that he will interview and he selects. You can go to recruiters that also provide relocation or paperwork for the client to get those candidates legally into the country. But these are mega corporations and they're very expensive. So small, medium-sized companies would not consider to work with the manpower of the world, for example, because it's just too expensive for them. Then you have people who provide office space, Regis, for example. And if you take all the office space vendors in the world together, they turn around about 106 billion worldwide. And their competitive advantage is to sell managed square meters for 35 years. And last but not least, CRM vendors. You can pick your own CRM and go somewhere. But again, all these CRM vendors are built very big for their big corporations with 10 and 20 and 50,000 employees. So if you ask me, is there any provider currently out there in the world who combines all 4 into one solution, led, managed, operated, controlled by the client? There is no one. So when it comes to 100% control of operations from a client perspective and service every department a client possibly has, the only vendor currently in the market, as far as we could see, discover and look around, is SGS. So we haven't yet found a person who provides the exactly same solution. And why am I relatively sure about this? For 2 reasons. Number 1, we do our own market search, but the best indicator is the client. When you offer a solution, a client normally says, thank you very much for the offer. We'll wait until we have the other offers from your competitors in, and then we decide with whom we move forward. That's an inherent part of every sales cycle of every company. So far, not in SGS. Whenever we are in negotiations with a client and present our solution package and contract, the entire part waiting for a competitive quote to come in doesn't exist. We go from presenting this to negotiating an offer to signing a deal. At the moment, we don't see or have yet encountered any competitor, despite the fact that we already operate in all of Europe.
Amazing. Well, for my next question, Markus, I would love to know, let us dive deeper into your team. So can you talk to us about the specific skills and expertise that they bring to the table and how your team is going to help you scale this venture over the near term?
Can I repeat the question? So you're wanting to know how my team that I have built is helping to make this all work?
Yes.
Okay. Then I have to start with, I'm lucky and blessed. That's the best way to say that. You always try to find a good person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say the answer to your question is twofold. Number 1, how do we go about finding people, and what do we look for in people? We have our own recruitment team. So we really look people, we advertise, we search, we hunt people down that we think would be great for the job. Then every person has to go through the same interview process, and we run 5 interviews minimum with every candidate before employment, where not only the future manager is involved, also peers and colleagues. So our decision-making matrix has 5 points. We're looking for people who have know-how, competence, expertise, skills, and cultural fit. Now, the first 4 is 50% of the decision-making, and the last one, cultural fit, is the other 50% of the decision-making. Because if you have a great knowledgeable person, but that is not culturally a fit into the leadership team or any department member, it doesn't make sense for the company. And the second answer to the question is, if we find a brilliant, bright person, but that is lacking some of the skills, I can train for skills, I cannot train for personality. So we really put emphasis on corporate culture fit. Now, how do they help me? Let me give an example for one position. My head of sales has worked as a CHRO for the past 20 years. So all her life, she was responsible for, in large corporation and medium-sized companies, to run human resources. So she is fully aware about the problems of finding skilled talent and keeping it for an organization. When I presented her our software and our solution, I've asked her, did she ever come across in her career about a platform, for example, for HR, who handles this so well and makes this so transparent? And she worked for Siemens and she worked for a large retailer. And she said, never. And I asked her if she thinks she could sell it. And she said, absolutely. So I thought the best person selling a software and selling a solution is a person who, by own experience, knows the difficulties and struggles of our target audience and related to personnel. And she is doing absolutely well. She's the chief sales officer of the organization. I hope I answered your question with this one example.
Yeah, absolutely. That is brilliant. And I couldn't agree with you more. The points that you've raised make so much sense. And, it is great that, you have such a great team backing you up. Now, as my final question, Markus, and this is for the prospective investors in the audience, can you talk to us about what does the roadmap look like for Scalable Global Solutions moving forward? So what milestones are you looking to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? What should our investors be excited to see with your venture?
Okay, the list is very long. And of course, it depends on getting the necessary investment. First off, I'd like to say one more thing. The transition from last year to this year was to start to build a leadership team. And the goal is next year to implement a complete leadership team. Why? I believe in divide and conquer, getting the right people and assigning them a frame, what they should do for the organization, and then leave them to do this. So the goal for 2023 is to build a full leadership team that allows the company to succeed and continue to grow, even if I would be sick or not available or dead, because that's important from a security point of view for investors. Then what we want to achieve, we want to become cash flow positive in 2023 as early as possible. So if we ramp up another 20 people, we will do half the break even. And we hope to achieve this by the end of Q1. So beginning of April, latest May, we want to have definitely achieved the break even for the company to become cash flow positive. Why is that important? At the moment, I use a large portion of the investment to just run the business. The moment the business carries itself, I can use every investment money for what I really would like to use it, future growth of the company. So that brings us to the next point. I want to enhance SGS1 feature range, and I want to start a program SGS1 2.0, which will be much more enhanced and will have the lesson learned from the past and feedback from customers, what they think would be great to have. So I'm not going to develop the future platform based on what creative features we can come up with. Then we would end up like SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, and Salesforce.com. We focus this by listening to customer demands and customer needs for their daily business. We want to develop and build a new mobile app. So we have, for one of our applications, a beautiful mobile app. We want to do this for all of our applications or all our department solutions. We definitely want to grow the channel partnership program. At the moment, we have 6 channel partners. The goal is to sign 150 consultants with an average of 2.5 FTEs, so people who work in the consultancy. Then 80 base partner, 60 premium partner, and 10 gold partners. For that, I need to go from the channel team that is currently 2 people to minimum 15. Why is that important? Because it would give us over 750 people who are trained on all our solutions, software and solution department as a solution, who go and sell this in established markets with established customer base across Europe. Because if a local partner who works with a client for 10 years saying, hey, here's a new solution that saves you money, they listen. So it gives us faster access in the different markets and feedback. So extend the other department and to start a subsidiary in Thailand. Thailand is the new India. So where India were 25 years ago by its prices, this is where Thailand is today. You get top developers, top engineers in Thailand. I want to build the Thai entity first to program our software solution SGS1 2.0, because I can do the same money a lot more. Second, once the software and customers use our software and have implemented departments, we do nearshoring because Europe needs language skills. But some solutions don't need that. Payroll. You don't need payroll in French, you need payroll in English. So certain solutions later can be basically done 24/7 from Thailand for Europe. That gives customers, again, a great solution, more affordable, plus we make a better margin. And then it's the first step towards a global approach. And the last milestone is to complete the seed stage round by getting another 2.1 million or 2.2 million, ideally in the next 4 months, 500K.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Markus. And then, I'm sure that all the viewers as well will be keen to keep a tab on the growth of your venture moving forward. For anyone who's interested to get in touch with the team at Scalable Global Solutions, please see the details at the side of the screen or in the description. I would like to thank you again, Markus, for coming on for this interview, and I wish you all the luck with your venture moving forward.
Thank you very, very much. And I'm looking forward to continue to work with Wholesale Investors.
Brilliant. Thank you.